Shopping for a height adjustable desk?
But need that extra space to work in?
Desky has you covered.
I've gone with a walnut desktop and black frame, and this won't take any more than 45 minutes to put together. And all you're going to need is a box cutter or scissors and a Phillips head screwdriver. That's the one with the star-shaped end.
Leave the larger desktop size boxes unopened for now, and open all the other boxes and lay those items out on a protected area like a rug or a mat to avoid any items from getting scratched.
Be sure to account for all parts out of each box prior to throwing away any packaging. And you can find a full list of parts inside the included instruction manual, which we will also be following today.
It's now time to begin assembling our desky.
With the two crossbar ends attached out of the box, slide these apart to separate the components. Keep the crossbar rails to the side for later. You will have two long crossbar ends for the main part of the desktop and a smaller crossbar end for the return side. Beginning a leg assembly, use a main crossbar end with a leg and have the crossbar end on its side with the holes facing up towards the leg. Insert the leg into the crossbar end so the holes from the leg line up with the holes on the crossbar end. Carefully insert the machine screws through the crossbar and into the leg using the hex key provided. Screw them in place, but do not completely tighten any of them yet, and do this for both sides of the leg.
Next, we're going to attach the side bracket. I find having the leg assembly on a supported angle like this is the easiest way to insert and tighten the screws.
Position a side bracket flush against the back of the crossbar so the four holes line up with each other. Insert 4 machine screws and hand tighten them all first before tightening the 2 outside screws, before then tightening the 2 inside screws. And once these are secure, completely tighten the screws on the side of the leg from the earlier steps. Now let's add feet to the leg assembly with pads facing up on the foot, position it on top of the leg. Insert 4 machine screws into the leg, hand tightening them all first, before screwing them down tight with a crisscross pattern. Now we go ahead and repeat all the previous steps the same way for the 2 remaining legs, ensuring then that we have 2 large leg assemblies and 1 small one completed. Next, remove the larger of the desktops from the box and place it with its bottom side facing up. Here, we're assembling the main part of the desky. Place a larger leg assembly on the upturned desky, aligning the holes on the side bracket with those on the side of the desktop. Next, using 2 crossbar rails, with their hollow cutouts facing inward to each other, insert these rails into the crossbar end. Now position the second large leg assembly on the opposite side of the desktop, and slide the rails into its crossbar end, connecting the 2 legs. Adjust the width of the frame here by pulling the 2 leg assemblies apart until all holes on the desktop line up with those of the side brackets. Insert and secure 3 screws into each of the side brackets and tighten here in place. And there's also an additional screw to be secured on the inside of each crossbar as well. From here, with 8 grub screws, align the crossbar rails to be centered, and using the hex key, screw down the 8 grub screws, 4 on each end, into the crossbars to secure the rails tightly. Next, to attach the control panel to the desktop, you'll find pre-drilled holes available on either side just back from the edge for left or right installation. Using 2 wood screws and your Phillips head screwdriver, line up the pre-drilled holes on the desktop with those of the controller to secure it in place. I find that by leaving it slightly loose now, I can get it perfectly aligned to the edge of the desktop once I've flipped the desky up. And now we're going to secure the control box to your desktop with 3 positions available. You can either attach the control box to the center of the desk using 2 machine screws, Alternatively, using the bracket on the underside of the control box, attach it by sliding it onto the controller bracket of either of the crossbar ends and securing it there that way. Once done, you can go ahead and plug in the two legs and the controller into the control box. Now, depending on the size of your desktop, you may require to use an extension cable to attach one or more of the legs to the control box. And with any loose cables hanging about, with a couple of well-placed self-adhesive cable clips, you can keep any cables from hanging down when the desk is flipped upright. Next, we're attaching the connecting crossbar to the underside of the desk, and this will be positioned on the opposite side of the controller. Slide it along to the end until the last 4 holes are visible through the crossbar, and insert 2 to 3 machine screws, noting to keep these machine screws semi-loose, as you will need to align the crossbar and the return side of the desktop in the following steps.
And if you've purchased a cable management channel, like this one, now is the perfect time to be installing it.
Slide one end of the cable channel into the side bracket and extend the length to meet the opposite side. Tighten the center knob here to secure the channel from sliding back out, and then insert the spring-loaded release screws into the side bracket. Lower the tray whilst lifting these screws and then release, and once in place, your tray will be nice and secure.
And be sure to check out our in-depth video on the cable channel for all our integrated power options.
And lastly, the power cable. Once plugged into the control box, I wouldn't secure any of its excess cable yet until the deskie is upright and raised to its maximum height to ensure that you have enough length in the power cable.
Now that you've completed the assembly, I'd quickly go over all the screws to ensure that they're tight before grabbing a mate to help you flip this deskie onto its feet.
In assembling the smaller return side of the deskie, we'll be repeating similar steps from the main side. First, attaching the crossbar end to the desktop by lining up the side bracket with the pre-drilled holes on the desktop, and then use 4 screws to secure this leg in place. With the remaining 2 crossbar rails, ensuring the cutouts are facing inward to each other, insert these into the crossbar end, but do not tighten them yet. From here, flip the return assembly up and carefully align the return side of the desktop to that of the main desktop, sliding the 2 crossbar rails into the connecting crossbar end all the way, and then pushing the return side flush up against the main desk for support. Next, comfortably position yourself under the deskie and insert a machine screw into the connecting crossbar end, securing the return side desktop to it. Following this, align the return side assembly, now connected to the connecting crossbar end, and use the edges of both desktops to get the sides flush. Then tighten the screws in the connecting crossbar end and add any further remaining screws to secure the return side assembly in place. From here, tighten the 8 remaining grub screws, securing the crossbar rails as well. Next, go ahead and attach the 3rd leg cable to an extension cable and run the other end of the control box and plug it in there, using cable clips to keep this up and away. Then finally, align the controller flush with the side of the desktop and tighten these wood screws with a Phillips head screwdriver to secure the controller in place.
And now we've completed the assembly, all we need to do is plug the deskie into power and reset the controller to initiate the desk.
Press and hold the down button until the desk reaches its lowest position. Then press and hold the down button again until it displays reset. Release, then press it one more time and the deskie will bop up and down for a second, displaying the lowest height, and is now ready to use. To navigate your way through to the extensive range of customizable settings, hold the M button for around 4 seconds, then use the up and down arrows to cycle through the menu and the M button to confirm.
And if you've got any further questions, be sure to get in contact with the team at deskie.com.au and check out our other great videos on the range. It's time for lunch.
it.